Welcome to Cromwell Harbour. My name is Alistair Swan and I'm the current chairman of Dunbar Harbour Trust. Cromwell Harbour is the second oldest of Dunbar's harbours and is packed with history. My colleague and fellow director Kenny Mall will be taking you through the tale of the harbour. But for those of you who have already enjoyed the video of Dunbar Castle, you will recall the significance of Dunbar during the many years of conflict between Scotland and England. Kenny will be explaining the significance of the extension of Lamerhaven, now called Broadhaven, which was the first harbour, into Cromwell Harbour. Its design is very clever and has stood the test of time. Cromwell Harbour is the safe haven for our fishing fleet. If you come down here during stormy weather, you will see our boats squeezed together. It's where our fishermen mend their boats, and it's the base for Dunbar Harbour Trust. Our fish merchant works here, and the harbour is surrounded by residential accommodation. It's a hive of activity and a great place for young and old to explore. So sit back and enjoy your journey through Cromwell Harbour.
And so in the old days, this was the entrance into Lamerhaven, and now it's been blocked off to prevent the sea surge. But the ships would come in here, they could go on to the whaling quay over there, and then for protection from storms, they would come into the entrance here and were actually entering Cromwell Harbour, also known as the Old Harbour. So we're here at the end of the returned pier, and of course the ships being inside Cromwell Harbour needed protection from the surge. So they built a winch here and a crane, and that would lift oak beams, big heavy oak beams, into position in that slot in the wall. And you can see there were 17 originally, evidenced by the Roman numerals 17 at the top. So now we're looking on to MacArthur's store here, a very historical building, they say the oldest continuously working industrial building in Scotland. MacArthur's store was originally called Spots Gurnall. Gurnall is an old Scots word for granary. Anyway, it was built in 1658 and then extended again in the 1740s. Being used over those years, it fell into disrepair in the 1990s, and restoration was started in the early 2000s. Being finished in 2009 and then opened to the fishermen. As you can see from here, the windows and the doors are red paint, and that's the original colour that they found when during the restoration. Red was traditional many years ago, as in red sails in the sunset. The restoration work was actually done by LDN Architects, and the organisation was the Harbour Trust. Funding came from the Trust itself, the Council, European Union, Historic Scotland and Heritage Lottery. So the building is composed of many ship's timbers, which came from wrecked and scrapped ships. And they know the ship's timbers because they're oak, and the fittings and the joints show where they came from. There's even some of the original nails in the wood. So after the restoration was finished, John Bellany, a famous local artist, very famous for his fishing scenes particularly, he was asked to do the official opening. Right, Robert, we're outside MacArthur's store. When that was refurbished, did that help the fishermen at all?
Oh, aye, greatly, because then we were using old buildings, run-down houses away from the harbour and that to do our job, but it wasn't very good because it was, well, it was just a house. They were all houses, buildings, so when this came along it was like one in the pools.
Yeah, it cost about £1 million, I think.
Aye.
Nearly 20 years ago.
A lot of money.
And so how many fishermen's stores are there in here?
There's 11, aye. Oh, it's a big help. I think there's a good waiting list for people to get in, like.
Oh yeah, I understand there is.
Aye, yep.
So which store's yours?
Number 2.
Number
There's
2.
The two on the bottom here are the two biggest ones. They will, this number 1 and 2 here. There's only 2 in the bottom and the rest are upstairs.
Well, that's very convenient for you because you don't have to go upstairs.
Well, that's how we got them, because nets, well, they can't haul nets away up the stairs where they can lift lobster creels up, but you can't lift the net up.
Yeah.
So that's how we got them.
And this is your working area.
Aye.
Along here.
Well, this suits best next to the store because if you need anything, you just nip it in your grinder or rope or whatever you need on your mend, and you just nip into the store.
So Dunbar had its own shipbuilding yard, built in the 1780s until the 1820s, and that was running for more than 150 years. If you look at the blocks down here, that's where it used to be. And the last ship launched here was the Highland Queen in the 1970s. The second to last ship was our very own Spitfire, which was launched in 1974 and is still working today, still with its MCA license. The ships were launched backwards at high tide into the main harbour. So Robert, your boat was built here, wasn't it? Spitfire.
And well, it was built over there. It was the second last boat. It was built over there, but the reason it was only 36 feet, it's not what I wanted. I didn't want 36 feet. That's all the money I could scrape up and steal, and because it was £1,000 a feet when I got it built.
And how has Spitfire worked in the last 50 years?
Very, very hard. Very, very hard. It's been sunk. It's been run down. It's been you name it. It's had it.
And has it been highly profitable?
Oh, it's made a lot of money. That boat made a lot of money. Because it was hammered stupid. It's just a tool, but it's a way past it now. Like it's coming up to 50-year-old, and it's costing far too much to keep it going. It's like an old car. It's not going to earn money if it's going to have to keep it, putting it back in the boat to keep it going. It's the same with an old car. You're never finished.
And you're not active in the fishing now. You're just you're making the nets and giving advice.
I was at the weekend to put 2 new nets on, so I went out to tune them in, like. And but I still do the nets, nothing like.
And how's your grandson Rowan getting on, skipper, now?
Oh, he's all right, aye. But he's no nothing like as hungry as what his granddad was. No, I never heard of such thing as forecasts or bad weather. He just got up and went out.
And you've survived to tell the tale.
I don't know why. I should have been away as many times. Nah, very seldom I stayed in the harbour.
And when you were building the boat, when Weatherhead's boatyard was building it, were you worried about running out of money, or?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the only reason it was that size, because that was all the money I could. You had to pay so much when you put the keel down. You had to pay some money, and then we'd put the ribs in so much, and that was, well, the money had run out by that time. And
would a bigger boat have been better? Because Dunbar Harbour's quite tight with the bridge and everything.
I mean, there's 50 and 60 foot boats. Well, the Highland Queen was 55 feet. But there was general boats built there when they were building boats that a man didn't have the money and wanted a bigger boat. So the way he done it was, as you put down so much money with the keel and paid it and the ribs and paid it, and then it was half built, and he says, I've no money left. Because he'd ordered a big boat, like about 60 feet or something. So the boatyard was left with a half-built boat. It was no good to them, and the man that ordered it couldn't get it. So he says, well, the best thing you can do here is, if you finish the boat and I'll work it, and when I work it, I'll pay you money back.
Cunning, very cunning.
That's how you get a big boat with half the money.
And are you the reason that Weatherheads went bankrupt and moved away?
No. The orders, well, it was the Whitefish Authority. They gave you grants. That's how most of the new boats was built, because they wanted the fleet up. So you got a Whitefish grant, and they stopped that. Of course, that was it finished. It's the same now. Who's going to get the money to go and build a new boat? If you've got £1 million to buy a boat, what are you wanting a boat for?
And were you limited to whitefish in those days? Because now you're fishing for langoustine, aren't you?
You could fish for anything. Fish, prawns, sprats, anything. And even the salmon was legal for a good lot of years.
And even big fish like the cod, a net full of cod would be.
But it gave everything a rest, because you were changing different jobs. Maybe 3 months at this job and then 3 months at another job, and it helped everything. Now you're just pigeonholed into catching prawns. But there's no fish to catch anyway.
From here we can see a ridge of rock running along. This is part of a fault that comes across the middle of Scotland, and round here becomes a volcanic vent which actually forms the main part of the harbour, which is giving it some of its protection from the sea. So here we're standing on the East Pier, and the East Pier gives the best protection from the worst gales which come from the northeast. And you can see the pier curving away. This was improved in 1655 by Cromwell's government, giving some money. And then the upper parapet was added in the 1800s. Halfway along there used to be a lighthouse come beacon to benefit the sailors coming back. However, this was knocked down in a storm and dismantled. So I'm standing at the top of Johnny Cope's steps. They're quite famous because General John Cope in 1745 came to confront Bonnie Prince Charlie at Preston Pans. He arrived by ship, came in alongside, mounted these steps and marched his troops off to the Battle of Preston Pans. That was 1745. He was promptly defeated, ran back here onto the ship and off to Berwick. There's a well-known song about it. Hey Johnny Cope. Cope sent a letter frae Dunbar, saying, Charlie, meet me an ye dar, and I'll learn ye the arts of war, if you meet me in the morning. When Charlie looked the letter upon, he drew his sword, its scabbard from. Come follow me, my merry men, and we'll meet Johnny Cope in the morning. So if as a tourist or even local, you walk along the East Pier, you come along, you can read the interpretation panels as you go, and they give you the history of the harbour itself and also the shipwrecks that took place along the coast. And then you can walk round to the returned pier. So at the moment we're at the bottom of the Colehurst. The Colehurst is this slope which was used to drag coal up, and hurst is an old name for like a quayside or a slope. And there's a magic angle that a donkey can pull 2 panniers of coal up. So at the moment the tide is out, and then goods would be unloaded and then taken up the Colehurst. So in the early 1700s, with the high taxation on imported goods, Dunbar itself established a customs house, and the customs house had 25 workers. 17 of them were inspectors who rode this coastline by horseback looking for the smugglers. There's plenty of places to smuggle along this coastline. The customs house was where those harled buildings are over that jumble of wee hussies. So the customs house was knocked down about 60 years ago and replaced by those residential houses. So this is the Fisherman's Monument, built in 1856, and that was a gift to fishermen because individual barometers were not available. So with this they could predict a fall in the pressure and thus the coming of a storm. Above the instruments here is a beautiful carving in Carrara marble of a fisherwife pleading with her husband and sons not to go to sea. Above that are seashells, beautifully carved in a collage, and above the Roman numerals depicting 1856. So around the harbour there's 3 cannon which have been cemented in, disused, and used as bollards nowadays. So a prime example of swords turned into ploughshares.